This book contains names and stories of First Nations people who have passed on. At times, it also covers issues of a sensitive and traumatic nature. These are voluntarily shared by First Nations AA members active in recovery from alcoholism, using the 12 steps of AA and supporting others to do the same.
Trent story. Auckland Primary Purpose Group. My name's Trent and I am an alcoholic and a Warrabji man born in Western Sydney. Growing up for me included cold chisel praying on a Saturday night and the fire burning in a steel drum. I remember my stepbrother and I trying to break the cylinder out of the washing machine and having no luck. We spent afternoons and weekends either in the backyard or the reserve behind the house. On those weekends, I saw what having a few beers did for the adults around me. The old green BB bottles and cans was what they drank when I was a kid, and every now and then we would come home to a drink up on a Tuesday night. Sometimes it was fun to be around, and other times you're in for a long night of music and listen to the same story repeated in one night. Despite those rougher nights, I'd get excited by walking up to the bottle shop and wanting to show my father how I could carry a case on my shoulders with ease. Blokes in the neighbourhood would yell out, ask how he was off, and offer him a drink. I remember my first conscious sip of alcohol walking home through those old army training grounds. I had a sip of this blue drink. I do not really remember any effect it had on me, but I can see it clearly today. I remember as a child I was crippled with fear and this feeling like I was carrying the world on my shoulders. I spent my weekends travelling between my parents' homes, with each house having 6 children in it. In my eyes, I was destined to be an alcoholic. Along with carrying those cases, I enjoyed the stories the old bloke would tell me in the pub. They'll carry and say he got a lot of respect this kid. I remember leaving my mother's one Friday night and asking for a roadie, a can of Coke, only for her to roll her eyes and give a little laugh. I spent the next years as a child and young teen still crippled by that fear and really had trouble making friends. It's like other kids could do it so freely. Then came my first run. It was a year 10 graduation party. I drank quickly, passed out within a few hours, and my friends' parents worried over me. That next day was horrible. I was so hungover I could barely walk up the driveway and laid in that bath for an hour. Other than a hangover, my drinking did not really bother me those first few years. I had a fake school ID, was the guy who brought the drinks and knew exactly which bottle to get them from. It did not take me a lot of drinks to get drunk. Then I was even teased for being a lightweight and drinking those pre-mixed drinks, but I would have those moments when I would want to fight friends or old friends, or that other time a close mate turned to say, Trent, you don't drink like us, you've changed when you have a few. That behaviour followed me through my drinking. The partying got in the way of a great bit of things in my life. I scraped through TAFE only because I had a friend drive me there and home, and would eventually turn my girlfriend away from me, though being resentful and controlling. But after turning away my first community-based job to make quick money and a name for myself, I ended up broke, suicidal, and hopped from job to job before I admitted to the job agencies that I could not work. They're thinking it was depression and anxiety. I was to make a big comeback, though. My grandmother encouraged me to apply for another community job, helping them up, and I got it. I could remember a genuine thanks to God, because I knew that I could not do that on my own. I really do not know how long that moment lasted. I even applied to be a drug and alcohol counselor somewhere in that. But within a few years, I was back in that fantasy of doing straight for 5 days, then drinking and drugging over the weekend. I could manage it for a little while, then the Sunday mornings felt like torture. The shaking, the pounding head and racing mind. It took everything I had to work on Monday. I worked near the local detox and would stare at it knowing I needed it but was simply too stubborn to go and ask for help. My ability and willingness to work a full 8-hour day was less and less, and I was able to get away with going home and claiming the working hours. Week after week it went like just drinking when I promised myself and others that I'm done with it, trying to control my emotions to avoid losing control and acting up a few times. I've done good deeds, get away at my mother's exercising, and even tried to give my friends a secret word they could use to get me home. None of this kept me away from the first drink which stopped me once I started. After another pound to make it my last night, I was kicked out of the local leagues club and went home by police for the third time that next morning, and it what got me into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. My brother knocked on the door, took his head in disgust, gave me my phone that I found in a random front yard, and demanded I still attend my youngest brother's birthday lunch. I could barely sit at the table and eat, and one by one the family told me how they fared and couldn't sleep when I was out drinking. I was always told I should not drink, can't handle it, to mix it with water, or that I don't have to get drunk every time. But that day, I heard it differently. I ended up at my first AA meeting about 5 days later. It was a beginner's meeting. I was 24, turning 25. I had a feeling that I'm finally home, as angry and afraid. I spoke at that first meeting and identified as I'm Trent. I've got a drinking problem. In the first month, older sober members will listen to my drinking stories, and in the same breath I'd say, I've got this, I'll be okay. I love to talk, but would walk away from guys who tried to offer help or point out that I might have trouble staying sober on my own, even laughing with another you come about how I'm not doing that many meetings. Then one day I knew I was out of drinking again. I ended up walking up to this man, barely looked him in the eyes and asked him for help. I heard him share at meetings. He drank as I drank, thought like I thought, and even grew up similar. But he was not afraid, shaking, and could look people in the eyes. This man brought me into his home to introduce me to his wife, and when I asked why he was being so kind to me, he responded with, "You're a part of this family now." I shared honestly about my drinking and my struggles to stay sober and live a decent life. Through those first few chapters of our big book, I discovered that I am an alcoholic. I'm powerless over alcohol, and I cannot manage my life or sobriety on my own. I joined a home group in AA, and my job was to bring the kitchen supplies. I was up early on a Saturday morning to attend the meeting, and I noticed people there smiling and dressed nice at 7 a.m. It helped me realize that my alcoholic life was so normal to me. I didn't think people could live any other way and do it happily. I felt like I belonged in AA and was no longer obsessed with this idea that I was too young or did not drink enough. Fellow members trifling age would reference to my shares, and I could hear my drinking in theirs. I had an experience at a meeting. It's not something I talk about often, but it assured me that there is a power greater than me. Following that, I walked through chapter 4 with Gnostics, and I began to see my truth, the times I would pray throughout my life, and that curious feeling that out there I always argue about God or religion and would tease those around me who believe, when really I just envied the comfort and needs which they seem to have. I continued through the 12 steps, shared my inventory, every dark secret I kept, and promised myself I'll take it to the grave. I spots and began to know everything about me, the shame I felt, the harms I'd done to others. I hurt quite a few people along the way and carried a lot of guilt over things I couldn't really control. For the first time I could see in silence, I could sit in silence with nothing in my body to quiet my thoughts and ask God to remove what blocked me from getting close to those around me. I was guided through my amends. I went back to my ex-girlfriend's home, sat with both her parents afterwards. She helped me see that I wasn't all bad. There's things in me that she fell in love with, and I pray that I don't lose those qualities for the next person I wish to spend my time with. I began to feel free in my hometown, was less afraid to be seen by people I had done wrong by. A lot of it was simply time and affection that I had stolen. I was not capable of being a friend. I would use people to drink to or get on and move from group to group. I had a spiritual awakening as a result of the 12 steps. I have been formally taken to the steps more than once. My most recent experience was with a sponsee who brought me and encouraged him to get rid of this idea that I need to be holy or perfect to be helpful. You know, I had a great deal of prejudice and mistrust with white guys. Always thought they eventually turn on me and throw my nationality in my face. But my sponsors, a white man, continues to show me love and give me time and introduce me to his circle of friends, and is living proof that not all people want to hurt me, and God doesn't want to punish me. I could write pages on the experiences I've had so far, the jobs I've held in AA, but one of the blessings, physically sober, is that I'm trusted with this message and trusted to share that with others. I have only ever wanted to be useful in this world, just could not do it on my own. For the first few years of sobriety, I battled with the idea that I'll have to choose my identity as an AA or my culture if I want to live and stay sober. Today I can see the culture lesson my father tried to teach me as a young fella. I treated my young cousin during sobriety, and I'm proud of that feeling. I get when I walk into my cousin's home. My grandmother's my cultural guide today. I think that's all she's really wanted, to be able to pass on the knowledge she's got. I turn to her when I need answers. She supports this way of life, has even met my sponsor and welcomed him into our family and shared culture knowledge with him. From that day at the coffee shop, I've not felt like I need to choose one or the other, and I'm proud to speak about my culture to my fellow AA. I hope to see you fellows in the fellowship with a smile on your face and peace in your heart. Yours truly, Trent K.